Hello and welcome to our channel. Today, we will be discussing the mysterious incident of flight IC-814. On December 24, 1999, an Indian Airlines flight with 176 passengers on board was hijacked by 5 terrorists and flown to Kandahar in Afghanistan. Let's explore the details of this event and try to uncover the mysteries surrounding it. The hijackers demanded the release of 3 terrorists in exchange for the passengers. After a week-long standoff, the Indian government agreed to their demands and released the 3 terrorists. The passengers and crew were finally released, but the incident left behind many unanswered questions. One of the biggest mysteries of this incident was how the hijackers managed to smuggle weapons and explosives on board the aircraft. The security measures at the airport were supposed to prevent such incidents, but they failed miserably in this case. Another mystery was the role of the Indian government in the entire incident. There were allegations that the government had negotiated with the hijackers and made secret deals. The government denied these allegations, but many people still believe that there was more to the story than what was revealed. The entire incident was traumatizing for us. We were held hostage for days and feared for our lives. Even after we were released, we couldn't shake off the feeling that something was amiss. We never got a clear picture of what happened behind the scenes. The release of the terrorists also sparked controversy. Many people believed that the government had given in to the demands of terrorists, setting a dangerous precedent. Some even argued that the release of the terrorists had emboldened other terrorist groups to use similar tactics in the future. The incident was a wake-up call for the Indian government and the aviation industry. It exposed the loopholes in the security measures and the need for better training and equipment. Today, we have much better security measures in place, but we must remain vigilant and adapt to the changing tactics of terrorist groups. The hijacking of flight IC-814 was a well-planned and executed operation. The terrorists had conducted extensive research and had chosen their targets carefully. They had also exploited the weaknesses in the security measures at the airport. The identity and affiliation of the hijackers also remained a mystery. While they claimed to be members of a terrorist group based in Pakistan, their actual identity and affiliation were never confirmed. Some experts speculate that they were part of a larger network that had planned and executed the operation. The incident was a traumatic experience for me and my family. We were on our way to celebrate Christmas with our relatives when the plane was hijacked. We had no idea what was going on and feared for our lives. The entire experience left a deep impact on me, and I still have nightmares about it. The release of the hostages was a moment of relief for their families, but it also raised questions about the Indian government's handling of the crisis. Many people felt that the government had given in to the demands of the terrorists, and it had set a dangerous precedent. The government had to make a tough decision during the crisis. We had to prioritize the safety of the passengers and the crew, and we had to act quickly to avoid any loss of life. The decision to release the terrorists was not an easy one, but it was the only option we had at the time. The incident also had a profound impact on the families of the victims. They had to endure an agonizing wait as the hijackers held their loved ones hostage. Even after the release of the hostages, many families were left with unanswered questions about what had happened to their loved ones during the crisis. The incident changed our lives forever. We lost our loved one, and we never got a chance to say goodbye. It was a traumatic experience for our entire family, and we still struggle to come to terms with it. The incident also had wider implications for the aviation industry. It led to a reassessment of the security measures at airports around the world and prompted governments to take a more proactive approach to counterterrorism. The hijacking of flight IC-814 was a wake-up call for the aviation industry. It showed us that terrorists are always looking for new ways to exploit our vulnerabilities, and we need to be one step ahead of them. Today, we have much better security measures in place, but we must remain vigilant and adapt to the changing threat landscape. The hijacking of Flight IC-814 was a reminder that terrorism is a global threat. The perpetrators of this crime had planned and executed the operation with precision, and they had demonstrated their ability to cause havoc and create fear. It is essential that we continue to work together as a global community to counter this threat and prevent such incidents in the future. The investigation into the incident of Flight IC-814 was a challenging task. The hijackers had demanded the release of several terrorists, and the negotiations had taken place behind closed doors. The investigation had to rely on limited information, and it took several years to piece together what had happened during the crisis. The investigation into the incident of Flight IC-814 was a complex and challenging task. We had to rely on limited information and piece together the events that had transpired during the crisis. It took us several years to unravel the mystery of what had happened, and even today, there are still many unanswered questions. It was a terrifying experience. We were all taken hostage by the hijackers, and we didn't know what was going to happen to us. We were forced to stay on the plane for days, with limited food and water, and we had no idea when we would be released. It was a traumatic experience that I will never forget. The negotiations to secure the release of the hostages were complex and challenging. The hijackers had demanded the release of several terrorists, and the negotiations had to balance the safety of the hostages with the demands of the hijackers. It was a delicate balancing act, and it took several days of intense negotiations before an agreement was reached. The negotiations to secure the release of the hostages were challenging. We had to balance the safety of the hostages with the demands of the hijackers, and it was a delicate balancing act. We worked tirelessly to secure their release, and we are grateful that they were eventually released unharmed. The incident of Flight IC-814 will always be remembered as a dark chapter in the history of Indian aviation. The mysteries surrounding the incident may never be fully resolved, but it serves as a reminder of the need for constant vigilance and the importance of strong security measures. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more such videos.